Effective communication skills are so important in parenting because when our kids feel really heard by us, when they feel really met by us, they're so much more open and there's so much more cooperation and there's so much more flow. And one of the things that really helps is, and this is not only with kids, this is with anybody, that one of the things that really helps is reflecting back what you heard. And it seems simple, it seems obvious, it seems basic, but actually it takes some effort to do that because we get caught up in what we're listening to. We get caught up in our own thoughts about it, and we might forget to reflect. But when we reflect back to somebody what they said, it really helps them feel like we've been really listening to them. And the other thing is, when we reflect back to them, they get to hear their own thoughts reflected. They get to hear their own thoughts from the outside. And it gives them a second opportunity to reflect, to think, to feel. And it's an amazing thing. I love it when people do that for me. Like if I say, I had a really hard day today because my mom is in the hospital, which she is, and I spent the whole day there taking care of her, which I did, and I love taking care of her. And also it's exhausting. And then someone says, yeah, I can understand how exhausting it is to spend all day in the hospital. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. And I felt like, they really understood, they understood me, and I love that. And so with our kids, the same thing. If we reflect back to them, I had a hard day at work. My kid says, I had a hard day at work today, Dad, because the manager wasn't there and I'm the second in command. And so I kind of had to take on all this responsibility. And I was like, taking on all that responsibility is challenging, isn't it? Pure reflection, right? It's a question, but it's pure reflection. She's like, yeah, it is challenging, and then she goes into it and she can say more. And so, reflecting back what you heard is so profound. And then on top of that, if you add, you can add what it meant to you, right? What it means to you, how it makes you feel. And that's something so beautiful too. And reflecting is something that works with young kids too. So like a kid comes up to you and they start telling you some elaborate story, maybe like about unicorns or about superheroes or about cars or about, an imaginary friend or whatever it is. And maybe you don't even understand entirely what they're saying, but if you can even hear a few words and reflect it to them, it makes such a difference because they really feel heard. And when a human being feels really heard, really like someone's really caring about their experience, it makes all the difference to them. Their heart opens, they soften, they want to share more. And then also they protect themselves from you less. And when your kid doesn't protect themselves from you, when they trust you and they're open, it's the best thing because then you can be a real guide to them. Then you can be a real friend to them. And then they share things with you that they wouldn't otherwise, and it's a beautiful thing. And that's why I'm sharing a bunch of communication tools, because the more we communicate with our kids in a way that really helps them feel heard and seen and safe, the more open they are to us. And this is really helpful as a guide. We are guides to our kids. And I people always think that the kind of parenting I teach is you're not guiding your kids, but it's the opposite. It's a much more effective guide because it's a guide without resistance. That's the whole idea, right? I'm developing a relationship with my kid where I can guide without resistance. And of course, I receive their guidance just as much. And that's part of why, I want to hear their wisdom. That's why I ask questions, I ask follow-up questions, and I'm interested in what they say. But reflecting back to people what they say is so profound. So the next time your kid shares something with you, a teacher was mean to me. Oh, that teacher was mean to you, eh? Yeah, tell me about that. And just like even a simple reflection like that means a lot. So the next time your kid shares something with you, try the reflection, see how it feels, watch how your kid responds to it, and then keep practicing. Communication is something we practice all throughout our lives, and we get better at it all throughout our lives. Even now, my kid's 26, and I'm still learning and I'm still growing. So don't give up. And I'd love you to check out my free course called Guiding Without Controlling. It's a wonderful 40-minute video that has a lot of really deep ideas about how to help our kids and work with them in a way that they don't create resistance. And you can go to meaningfulideas.com and check me out there. All right. Peace out, everybody.